Nintendo Wii Limited Edition Console main color, electric blue. The Nintendo Wii Limited Edition is a marvelous 7th generation console that keeps your gears turning. It is a calming blue color too. One of its most pronounced features is the ability to produce great graphics on its game titles. Plus it is compatible with the Wii Remote, which has wireless motion sensing technology that adds a refreshing edge to all sorts of games. In addition to that, the console sits horizontally or it can stand vertically. It's quite the versatile pool amusement, especially with the amount of games that are compatible with it.